While we are enjoying the food that we eat every day, which just mostly go to waste because we do not consume it all, are we able to know the story on how the agriculture fostered the agricultural products or crops from different disaster, pests, and even in the unpredictable climate change, and how they managed to provide the amount of water needed by these crops?
But wait, let us hark back from the past for a while.
The Tigris and the Euphrates are rivers that surround Mesopotamia. The problem with being surrounded by rivers is that when there is a lot of rain, the rivers flood. In ancient Mesopotamia, people figured out that if they could control the river, they could water their crops, and they wouldn't have to worry about being flooded out of their homes every few years. They could also get water to their fields when there wasn't enough rain, so that their crops wouldn't die. First, the Mesopotamians dug wide canals that allowed water to flow from the river out to their farms. Then they dug smaller irrigation ditches from the canals to their fields to water all of their crops. They put gates on the ditches so they could control how much water went from the canal to the fields. Modern irrigation gates are made out of metal, but probably the Mesopotamians made theirs from wood. Once the Mesopotamians were able to control the flow of water from the river to their farms, they were able to grow more crops and harvest a surplus each year. Having a surplus made their lives easier and gave the ancient Mesopotamians more time to have fun.
The Department of Agriculture and Manufacturing was established on the 23rd day of June 1898 through a presidential proclamation. It happened after the birth of the first Philippine Republic under the superintendence of the late President Emilio Aguinaldo. The concept of agriculture was developed on the first wave era. A farmer, also called an agriculturer, is the person who does the works that is engaged in agriculture, raising living organisms for food or raw materials. They produce a variety of food products for the consumption of both human and animals. They could grow crops and raise animals as well. As time passes, our economy is developing and the knowledge of the people tends to be broad in thinking and adopting some techniques or strategies from the colonizers from the past era. The concept of irrigation came in. Irrigation is the application of controlled amounts of water to plants at needed intervals. It helps grow agricultural crops, maintain landscapes, and revegetate disturbed soils in dry areas and during period of inadequate rainfall.
definitely take a lot of time to water larger lands or yards, and the number of times a farmer needs to water it depends on the plants that they need to grow. Another factor is the weather, if it's summer or rainy day. That is why the concept of irrigation have developed in a way the agricultural life will be much easier. Inducting an irrigation system may seem costly, but this sprinkler or drip configuration would still give lots of benefits. Some of the benefits include number 1, prevent disease and weeds. Number 2, conserve water and time. Number 3, preserve soil, structure and nutrients. And lastly, gardening and flexibility.
Farmers were the ones who work hard but do not get the right amount of income they should earn. This has been one of the problems our country is facing. Farmers also pay health insurance and GAHA that is deducted to the salary they are getting.
The government always has room for improvement and development. Senator J.V. Ejercito is a person behind the passage of the Republic Act 10969, also known as the Free Irrigation Service Act.
According to him, the said law would boost the harvest of farmers, which would also mean more income for them and would vastly improve the livelihood of poor Filipino farmers.
The said bill would also reduce the out-of-pocket production expenses of the farmers. The law was also described as a crucial reform in the agricultural section, but the said law will only be granted for the farmers who owns not more than 8 hectares of the land.
Mr. Ejercito added that the desire of the Republic Act is to unburden the poor farmers from paying irrigation fee services. The law condones all unpaid irrigation fees and penalties of farmers who owns the same size of land. It will also condone all loans, past due accounts, and the corresponding interest and penalties of irrigation associations.
Also, Mr. Ejercito mentioned that the poorest of the poor in our society came from the agricultural sector, and the said law aims to help out the poverty, and as the result of contribution, it will sustain the economic growth of our society.
The second day of February 2018, the current Philippine President, Rodrigo Roa Duterte, has signed into the law of the Free Irrigation Services Act. So that's it!
We hope that we have shared our knowledge clear with you.
I am Alina.
And I am Kim.
And together we are the
Jumel G
Twins!
Till next time, bye!